In 2008, I started this job as a salesman at this big electronics store. It was a big chain. I remember that my name tag said Jack, and it had the title Sales Consultant. And I often wondered why I was a consultant. I remember that I asked my boss one day, and he said, because we consult our clients about their needs before we make an offer. That's what he said. And I found it really weird and to be honest, not accurate at all. Because my job was to walk around the shop floor and then wait for customers to come in. They would normally go to a section to see a product, maybe a computer, maybe a digital camera, an iPod at a time, and I would answer their questions and then make the offer the product. So where's the consulting? I was selling stuff, so they knew what they wanted. I wasn't judging their decision, nor was I selecting the right product to meet their needs. Most of the time, I was explaining what the gadget did, what the devices did, and of course, when I could, I was trying to upsell. And that's even further from a consulting process. That's pure sales techniques, wouldn't you agree? So that was actually the idea I had at the time of my title, my position there. A simple misconception about what a sales consultant is. So I didn't agree with it. Until this one day when this very same boss called us all to teach us a new method we would be using to sell leasing contracts. The very concept of leasing was already an objection to me. Why would anyone want to lease a big screen TV when they had the money to go ahead and buy it? So because I opened my mouth, I was chosen to be the client. So we role-played it. My boss was the salesperson. He asked me several different questions about my needs, one after the other, made me do some math, crunch some numbers, and I was giving him the numbers, and he was creating this scenario, building a future situation using my own answers. And then it hit me. Oh, okay, I get it. I wanted to buy. I wanted to close. I wanted to sign up for. I want this lease. I was convinced, and I started applying what he taught us the very next day. Closed more contracts than anyone else in the store. We were nine people in the sales team. And then I won the best salesman of the year when we finished the holiday sales specials. That was a great year for me. I learned so much. I was indeed a sales consultant. And that changed the concept I had about my performance as a salesperson. Why am I telling you this story now? Okay, first, if you don't know me, I'm Jack Tristao, and I help life coaches, relationship coaches, health coaches grow their business by finding their clients, connecting with them, and then converting them into paying clients on sales calls to reach $8,000 a month. That's what I do. And this last process here, this last step is the sales. And one of the obstacles we see every day, objections, right? So in this video, we're going to be talking about some objections we get when we are on sales calls. And the most common ones, obviously, and how to handle them. And because in my opinion, if you understand exactly what your client needs, objections would only be some doubts that need clarification. They won't be preventing you from selling. The best way to handle objections is actually doing your homework first before the client has a reason to say, hey, hang on a second, maybe this isn't for me. And if they're having second thoughts, the process wasn't smooth enough for them to see your service as being the right fit, a good fit. It happens, and then you have to work harder. The best way is to prevent that happening and bring them to you a good, because it's not easy to bring the perfect ideal client to a sales call and have them say like, shut up, Jack, and take my money. That would be awesome, right? The perfect scenario. So we tend to get objections because it's not easy to bring the perfect client. So we tend to get objections, and they tend to be always the same ones, common objections. And then it's easy because we can learn them, how to overcome them with time and repetition. So today in this video, we'll be talking about them, and I listed six for today. I can talk about all of the objections. They are in sales, of course. So I want you to let me know in the comments if there's an objection you see often that I didn't include here, and then we can talk about that too. So the first objection I have listed here, number one, is called the simple not interested. We get that a lot, right? Not interested. I know when we cold reach people, like when you doing organic outreach, and then you reach out to someone and say, "Oh, I'd like to talk to you, offer some help." We get the not interested. That's a common one. It's generally just an impulsive response to a sales pitch. People tend to avoid being sold. They don't want to be offered anything because they're not ready to buy, and they don't want to see themselves in a position where they have to say no. It's normal. So salespeople actually have, and that's not a good thing. It's sad actually, but salespeople got a bad reputation. In the past, salespeople tend to be pushy, tend to be salesy, to offer something you didn't need. I remember people talking about, this is a common thing we talk about, like in car dealerships. When you're at the lot and you're looking at the car and you're just wondering what that car does, the features, the fuel consumption, the mileage, and then the salesperson comes along and they start to describe things that you don't want to know, things that you may know already, and they want to close that deal because it's a car, it's a vehicle, it's a good sale, it's good money for them. So they push it. I remember this, well, maybe you think differently, but I think it's a common notion of salespeople, and that's a bad reputation. I'm in sales, and I love this, the whole sales process, the whole sales notion, idea of being a salesperson. But I understand that when they see you as a salesperson, the not interested happens pretty quickly. They don't want to be sold. They don't want to be offered anything. The best way to deal with this objection, and it's a common one, it happens all the time. The good thing is that it's not a serious one. They're just avoiding the pitch. They just want to let you know that they know what you're doing. It doesn't mean that they don't need you. It doesn't mean that they don't want you or your service. So the way to handle this one is to understand where they're coming from, not actually pitching when they say that, or trying to insist or convince them that they should be interested. And you can actually agree with them. It's a good way to show empathy. I understand that you're not interested, and I wouldn't, because you don't even know what I have to offer or what I'm about to tell you, because they don't, right? They just said not interested. So they're not interested in your sales pitch, but they might be interested, and it's actually likely if it's an ideal client, a good fit. It's likely that they're interested in the benefits you have to offer with your service. So you shouldn't lose your hopes there when they say not interested. They're not interested in a sales pitch. They're not interested in talking to a salesperson or a pushy salesperson. But if you're not a salesy person, a pushy salesperson, you shouldn't worry. You just show some empathy. Ask some questions talk about what they're doing, ask about the week, how's your week going? And you can break the ice, understand where they're coming from, and then ask questions about their pain points, their problems, and then they'll be interested in the solution you have to offer. They're not interested in the pitch, but they could be and they should be interested in the benefits you have to offer, because your service will solve their problem, will heal their wounds. And that's a great way to overcome the common not interested. And that's a common one. That's why I chose I chose it to be the first one. Second objection I wrote down here, pricing. So you talking with your prospect, you explaining what you have to offer. You ask them, would you be interested in working with me? Is that something you like to do? Do you want to, go ahead and start our work together? And they say, I don't think I can afford that. I don't think the price is right for me right now. They can say, I can't afford that. That's a common one. It's the easiest one. Price is actually a very good objection to use. If you feel like, if you are the client and you feel uncomfortable saying no, it's a common feel. I don't want to be saying no. I don't want to disappoint them. So you want to come up with an acceptable objection. And the easiest one to use and the most accepted objection there is the pricing. I don't have the money, so what you gonna do? I don't have the money. You won't give it for free, so that's it. We're not gonna work together because I don't have the money. You won't give it for free, so that's it. End of the story. So it is the easiest one, and that's the one that pops up all the time. And because it's the most accepted objection, it's the one that it's not always, or maybe often not the true, not the reality that is going on with the client. They just came up with that excuse, more of an excuse rather than an objection. And if you want to handle a pricing objection, you can talk more about the benefits. And like I said in the story, you can ask them questions about what they want to do in the future. And then if you're offering something that has potential for them to make money, like the course I sell, the programs I sell, I help my clients, coaches, make more money. So I can build a scenario where they are making more money, so they can actually afford my program once they start landing sales. That's one way of looking at it. But you can always talk about the benefits and the value that your program, your course has. If you're offering a life transformation, you can talk about what would it be like if you didn't have, and then you repeat the pain points. Of course, when you get to the price, you've already talked about the problems, the situation that the client is going through. So you can help them visualize and visit emotionally a scenario, a situation where they don't have their problems. That helps them see the price as being just a hurdle that they can overcome. If they don't have the money, you can work in a different way. We're going to talk about that in a bit. But if it's just an excuse to avoid confrontation, I don't have the money, so I'm not interested, you can work the situation, their problems, and then convince them that it's an investment, it's not an expense. So that's when they might have the money, but they just don't have the desire to really, because they can come up with the money. They can, borrow, apply for a loan. if they see it as, I've done that in the past. When I really wanted a program, a course or a product or something that would actually change my life in a way where I would see myself as being a better person after the process, of course I would borrow the money. And I did in the past. I would apply for a loan, take out a loan, and then do the course. I did that, and it helped me, and it worked. So that's an option. But sometimes they simply don't have the money. They don't feel secure. I have, like, say for example, you're selling something that's worth $3,000, $4,000, and they don't have it. They might have the $4,000, but they don't want to invest it all in your program. So you can offer some payment plans, some different options. Don't offer those plans if they don't ask for them. I've talked about that in the past. Do not offer payment plans if they didn't ask for those. It's an impulse we have when we're not feeling confident about the sales process. So we just want to make things look better. We tell the price, like it's $5,000, but you can make small installments, and we can work in payment plans. It's like you're desperate to offer like an improvement to what you've just stated. That doesn't help. So offer some payment plans if they don't have the money up front, if they want to invest like a small amount at first, and then you move with them. It's actually a good thing when they feel more comfortable when they make small payments and they stay with you for longer. That's a good one. Okay, that's pricing. So revisit the scenario where they see themselves as being transformed, and they're gonna see the investment as being just a way to get there, just a means, a resource to get there. And if they don't see as being valuable, maybe they're not a right fit. That's a possibility too. Okay, another objection we get on sales calls, number 3. You can send me some information over. We get that all the time, right? Okay, so you're talking, you make the offer, they say, yes, maybe, yes, oh, okay, I like that. And they ask you to send an email. You could send them an email with a summary of everything you've explained, like a PDF with all the info. It's okay. You know, you should have that PDF anyways to send it over when asked. But you want to close the deal on the call because you want to make sure they are committed. So there's one way to overcome this objection is to actually ask them if there's anything else they would like to know about the program, about the service you have to offer before you send the information. Maybe they just want to learn a bit more. Maybe they had a question to ask, but it didn't come up, and they just want to get rid of you because they think they're wasting their time, your time. Maybe they're just like, okay, I'm gonna think about that later. They just don't want to commit. So you can ask more questions. I can send it. Don't say no. Don't say why you want some more information. Don't question them about that. Ask different questions about their situation. What would be different if you had, because is there anything I haven't said or mentioned that you're still wondering about the program? And wait for them to answer. Don't go on talking about stuff they haven't asked. Ask that, wait for the answer, and then give them the answer about the question, not about your program, not the benefits of module 6 or 7 or payment plans. Don't talk about things they haven't asked. That's when they ask you to send some information, and by all means send the PDF file after the call. But you can avoid when they try to stall. You can avoid that by asking more questions. Number 4, what if it doesn't work? So they sometimes they ask about guarantees. What if it doesn't work? What if I start working with you and it doesn't work? It's not a good fit. if you don't provide some guarantees, they might feel insecure. So let's see, what if you don't have any guarantee? What if you don't give guarantees, which is common? Because if it's you offering your time, if it's a one-on-one program, you're offering your time. You can have your time back. So if they use your time, you're not going to give them your money back, their money back, because they've used your time. So you have to give some sort of guarantee. And the way to overcome this objection is to revisit the scenario where they've used everything and they've been transformed by your service. So you have to be honest, straightforward. We don't provide guarantees. We work with you together each step of the way until you reach your desired goal. If it's not working, we're gonna try a different method. We're gonna do something different. But be honest. This is actually an objection that some salespeople, some coaches, they tend to say, they tend to provide some sort of guarantee that does not exist, or they don't like the question because they don't have a good answer, so they're not transparent about the guarantees. So you should be transparent, 100% transparent about the guarantee. We are going to work together. If you have a guarantee, by all means, just share it. Just say, okay, we have a 30-day money back guarantee, no questions asked, or 60-day money back guarantee. You mentioned that, but this is only an objection when you don't have a guarantee to offer, right? Be transparent, 100% truthful and transparent. That's number 4. Number 5, not sure if that's for me. I don't see it as being a good fit. You gotta be careful because maybe they're not a good fit. It's possible. So the way to overcome this objection is to talk about their problems. Again, go back to the pain points, repeat them back to them. Repeat what they've said to you in the beginning of the call. Everything that they're going through, you ask them, so you're going through this and that, so this is a difficult situation for you, so this is bothering you, and you want to fix this. If your service, if your resource helps them fix that, you should mention that. Tell them, I can my method, my course, my program will help you fix that problem. Is that something you'd like to do? If they say no, then they don't see it as being a good fit, or maybe that's not the objection at all. Maybe they're just using it as an excuse. That I don't see as being a good fit for me. That would actually be true if you are describing, I've talked about that in the past in other videos. If they're talking about, if you are describing your product, the modules, the benefits, the bullet points, and I said that you shouldn't do that, because if you talk about the description, they may not be interested in your module 5 or your module 2. They've seen it already. They know about that. They're good at that. They're not interested in paying $4,000, $5,000 for something they already know. Don't go describing your product. So if you're doing that, they may say, and they, and they have every right to say it, I don't think it's a good fit for me, because you just described something they're not interested in. So if you don't describe your product and you just tell them that you could fix those pain points they've already mentioned, so you're repeating what they've said back to them and say, my course can fix this, and you can have the transformation you want. If they said, I don't think it's a good fit, it's an excuse, not an objection, and you can move on. Maybe they're not a good fit because they don't want your program. It's a different reason, and you can keep asking. If they don't answer it, there's nothing you can do about that. That's an objection. You can't handle it. But it's an excuse if you ask the right questions. So that objection would only come up if you describe your product, and they might not be interested in one of your bullet points. Last one, not the least, number 6, I'm going to consult with my spouse or partner. I like this one. And I got this one a lot when I was in sales. And I still get that one. I need to talk with my business partner. I need to talk with my spouse. And we're going to get back to you. I'm going to get back to you. There's one thing I say all the time, and this works most of the time, 99% of the time. Because if that's an excuse, it's hard to overcome the objection because you don't know what the objection really is. But if it's real, if they want to consult with their spouse, if they want to consult with their partner, you can say this. Okay, is there some time like later this week where we can all talk on a call? Is there a time that your spouse could join us on a call so that I can explain everything to them as well? And that way they have a clearer idea of what my service does. Is that like tomorrow or maybe the next day, is that a good time for us 3 to talk together on a call? If you do that, you're gonna make sure that you're gonna have a second call, and that's okay. But you're going to guarantee or at least make sure that you have more chances to close this sale because they are not gonna be communicating to each other a different idea of what your service does. You don't know if they really got the essence, the gist of what you have to offer. So you need to talk to the spouse. Don't allow the prospect to go explain what you do to their spouse or partner. That's very dangerous because it's one thing you explaining what you do, and it's a whole different thing when they do that. So you ask to go on a call with the spouse together. If they don't know how, if they don't have the time, if they say, I don't know, that's difficult for me, there's another thing that you can ask here. Okay, that's great. You know what? I don't know if, when I explain what my service does, when I explain how my service can fix or help to tackle the problems that you're going through, I have a way of explaining it, and I don't know if people could understand it in a way that they could replicate it well to the spouse or partner. So I'd like to ask you for something. Can you explain it back to me? Can you go over the description or the service or the benefits of my service and explain it back to me, so that way I know for sure that you understood it, and then you're ready to communicate and pass it forward to your spouse and partner. That's a great, if that is an excuse, not an objection, if it's an excuse, then they think like, okay, they might lose interest in the objection and then start rethinking about the benefits you have to offer, and that's a good thing. Or if they agree to explain the whole thing back to you, they're going to be going over all the benefits and repeating each benefit, all the good things you have to offer. They're going to repeat them themselves. So now it's them saying what you have to offer, and it makes it so much easier for them to absorb the knowledge and really understand the benefits of your services. So those are the 2 options for you to handle the objection. I got to consult with my spouse or partner. Ask to go on a call with the partner or spouse, or ask the prospect to explain everything back to you so they know how to explain it to the spouse. And when they're explaining it back to you, things get easier. The whole explanation helps them really acknowledge what you have to offer. So there you have it. Those are the 6 common objections that we get on sales calls. Some of them are not even objections when they come up disguised as when they come up as excuses disguised as objections, and that's how we can handle them.